So the video is called Leaving Lightroom, but I mean, it really should be called Leaving Lightroom and Capture One, but Leaving Lightroom sounded better. So what we're going to look at in this video is basically, it's a weird and difficult area, this one. If you were going to come over to Linux over from, Windows or Mac, and you're a photographer, what are your options and how do you do it? Now, obviously I'm using Omarchy, Arch-based Linux distribution, and so we'll be looking at the options on that, but the options are the same on each of the distros. So yeah, it's a difficult one. Just to sort of give you some back history here. I mean, I've done photography for like 20, 30 years. I started on film, went to digital, and then I went back to film again. I've done it as a paid photographer, and then I moved into video and all that kind of stuff. So I've sort of been around the bazaars with the whole thing. So what I'm going to talk about now isn't based on Googling. This is based on being in studios while shoots are going on and dealing with people like the press and stuff like that and seeing how they work. So, and there's three grades. There's loads of types of photography, isn't there? There's landscape, there's portrait, there's sports, there's all this sort of stuff. And then there's, different levels. So you've got the professional who earns a living from photography. You've got amateurs who sort of, they may do stock staff, they've got other jobs. Then you've got the people who hobbyists or whatever, who just mess around. So it depends on where you sit in that sphere of things of what you do, is how far you can move over to Linux, to tell you the truth, to start off with. But let's look at where we're coming from. Okay, so on Windows and Mac, there are two, not three or four or five, two major platforms that professionals especially use for photo production. One's Lightroom, one's Capture One. Now there is like one photo or something, but I've never ever seen that used in any commercial environment. And the main reason Capture One's there is down to, it's a very precise color science, but it has tethering. And so when you do a studio shoot, the normal way that it works is that photography is doing its thing. There's a cable or Wi-Fi or whatever goes into Capture One. His assistant is like creating sessions and the library, and the client is stood next to the assistant watching the photos in real time being taken, making comments and stuff. So basically the client gets feedback. Like when we shoot commercials, we have a client monitor and the client sits there and watches. So it basically allows the photography assistant to mark shots that the photographer feels good and also catalogue it, because the last thing you want to do is come up with a shoot and have thousands of unmarked photos. And basically, they can see it because it's got the tether. Now, that's why their 16-inch MacBooks were really popular, because they were big enough to flip up, have a nice screen. They used to put a hood over the top and then stand them on like a trolley or something, a collapsible table for the client and whatever to look at. So tethering is the big part of Capture One. So I've seen loads of professional photographers who do studio shoots, fashion shoots, who use Capture One. It's got great color science. And it's very much aimed at that sphere. Now, Lightroom I haven't seen used that much. Lightroom doesn't have as good tethering as Capture One. And so basically I've seen that used by a lot of press guys, because you can turn around stuff really quickly and get it out the door. I've been at event shoots where they're basically shooting and they're dumping it into Lightroom. They're doing it, and over Wi-Fi they're firing up their JPEGs straight away because it's a quicker workflow for them. So it's basically the very high-end stuff is like Capture One. Press and rapid turnaround is more like Lightroom. They also, like Capture One's got much more color fidelity than Lightroom. I don't know. I mean, I use Capture One. I used to use Capture One. And Lightroom is sort of a different beast. Both of them have a level of AI tools. Lightroom's obviously got a lot more AI tools, so that's sped up the workflows for people. But they're the two things. They're the two horses in the race. So if you're coming over to Linux, you have to think about what type of photographer you are. If you're just like a general photographer, it doesn't matter which one you use, Capture One, Lightroom, you can turn around those photos in your own time. I mean, if you've got all the time in the world with a photo, then you can use anything you like. But if you've got to get it out the door quickly, and you've got to get it to a client, or you've got to do it in front of a client, then there's a different set of rules in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Capture One on my Mac and Lightroom, and we're going to load in a sample of photos. Then we're going to go over to Omarchy into Linux, and I'm going to look at the alternatives we've got in the world of Linux. So yeah, so that's my incredibly long preamble out of the way. You know, I basically I moved away completely. I started to shoot film more because what used to happen was when I used to do shoots, I to like do a set with digital, I'd repeat the set basically with the film camera, and then I'd put them in the mix back to the client, and the client used to pick the film more than the digital. So I don't really have to do as much post-production on photos anymore when I get called to do this job, because I normally do both. I do film, and then they normally take the film and they need to scan it up. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Films all come back into fashion, and I got rid of all my cameras. And if you look at my channel, there's hundreds of film cameras because I had to buy them all back. So I mean, yeah. So film could save you, Lennox. You know what I mean? You know the resurgence of film. But seriously, for a commercial front, it's basically Capture One and Lightroom. Film is an oddity and it's a nice extra. But anyway, so with all that out of the way, let's dive in. Okay, so here we are. This is Capture One. I fired it up, and it's a pretty standard sort of layout. You've got your controls on the left, you can have it on the right, you can move things around if you want. So what we'll do is just quickly import some images, and I've got some in import photo. I've just got some random ones I picked up. Some of them have got problems because I was interested to look at ones with problems. So there's a beach in Corsica. Now what you're seeing here is quite pixelated because it's like a low-res preview. Then you've got this shot here, which I shot literally 15, 20 years ago on an old digital camera. It was a guy in the St. Moritz Club, which is in London. It was a singer. And then there's this, which is a showgirl, but the camera completely screwed up and shot red. So we'll see what the programs makes for that. Then there was a food thing I did, and there's some salmon. Sorry about that. Then there's two of my cameras, an Olympus Trip and a Contact. And then this is shot, it's a cat, obviously in there, but it's desperately underexposed. This is basically shot on a GFX 100S, which is one of the massive Fuji, 100 megapixel cameras or whatever it is, 50 megapixels, I don't know, it's huge. So the files off of this are gigantic, and it's weird and it's tricky for certain packages to use it. But I thought we'd bring that because it's one of these oddity. Most DNGs go in fine, but this is a RAW file, which is the Fuji standard format. So let's just import these all in. He says tick, and then import all 6 images. And then we can have a look. So that's been brought in. Here we go. So straight away, you can just auto adjust in here somewhere, auto adjust to get you sort of an immediate look. Don't know why I've got the layer mask thing on. And then you've got all your other controls here. So you've got the library, you've got the tether control, which I was talking about with Capture One, all about tethering, shape, lens correction, all this sort of stylistic looks you can do. That is Nikon D50, this one was shot on. Styles and presets, built-in styles and presets. You've got base edits, base looks, black and white punch, black and white soft, all these starting points if you wanted to modify your photo. Film F400. And then you've got other adjustments here, which is your match look, some AI type stuff, tons of bits and bobs, color balance. There's much more my world, the thing, because I do color correction a lot. So that's all down there. Clarity, vignette, all of it. So, I mean, start off, how do we level that out? Keystone, sliders, auto. Yeah, so in here somewhere, I'm not so used to vertical, horizontal. Interesting, vertical. Keystone in controls. Aspect, skew, flip, angle, there we go, rotation, that's what I'm going to rotate it. Put a level, that's it. So there you go. Now, obviously, you can draw, and this is quite a low resolution picture. It's ancient. But, I mean, there's not much more you'd need to do to that. You could fiddle around with it. You've got noise reduction, all those kind of things. And you can curves, extra shadow, film, high contrast, task 10. I mean, that's not a huge thing. Let's have a look at the Kevin. Now, this obviously is woefully underexposed. So what should we do with that? What should we do with that adjustments? Let's see if we're getting it back from here. What do we want? Saturation. Where are we? Clarity, haze, vignette, style. Let's see what auto adjustments does. Auto adjust. Oh, it's tried it. Massively noisy. But he is in there. Shape, that's nice. I mean, I haven't played with this for ages. Refine. Must be in there. We've got dust removal, noise reduction. Here we go. Let's see what this does. Now all that noise will be, it'll be color noise, but that looks like luminous noise. Just want to wrap that up. Oh, it's horrible. It's all that, got that artifacting going on. Get rid of that as well. Color noise, details. But you've got, there you go, let's get that down. That isn't looking too bad. So I've got this gigantic masking thing. So yeah, so it can save, you know, noise reduction. It's really simple. You see how quickly I can do this? I can just jump around in the panel. And this one is this girl. This is Jen. This was like, I fired it and it came out red. The camera misfired. But if there's any, is there any scopes in here? Somewhere in here there's some scopes. There is colour information. There's a bit of green and a bit of blue, and there's a lot of red, obviously. So, I mean, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. White balance. Can I do it by temperature? Let's see if we can knock that red out. Anyway, Kelvin. Let's just see if that's what that slider do. Look at that. It's got something back. There we go. Nearly, I mean, it was quite red light. That's not too bad, I think. That was like, it's not perfect by chance, but I mean, it's like potentially usable. You can still see at the top, there's a bit more, there's too much blue in it. What else can we do? Let's go back to that refine. Let's give a bit of noise reduction. Luminance, color. Smooth her out a bit, single pixel. I mean, this would never be like a perfect photograph, but I mean, at least it's sort of usable in a very abstract kind of way. When we're back in here, styles and presets. We've got styles and presets, curve, auto, standard linear response, film standard, which is a bit orange, but we could get away with that being under the lights. I wonder if we could do with a color editor, what we can do. So maybe if I set the white balance off of that, it's going to be a bit orange. Now it's gone green. Tin. Oh, yeah. So I don't know. Very rapid correction and got. I mean, it's not really usable, but it's much better. What does that do? Masks and layers, people. So this has got AI tools, and there's a skin mask on that now. I think exposure. Yeah, look at that. So we could probably push some color into that. Dynamic range. What have we got down here? Let's make her a bit more. Can we get more red into her skin? A bit too much? I don't know. With a bit of work there, you could probably normalize that picture, I'm sure of it. Let's just jump onto the food quickly. Here we go. Now it's a bit underexposed. Let's just do auto adjustments to us. A bit better. It's out of focus over there. This is not one that was used, and it's dead focused. Obviously, what was the f-stop on that? Yeah, 5.6. It's not quite right. But yeah, I mean, so with this, you know, you can play around with it. It's really quick, really simple. Let's sort of go my underexposed image. There's my cameras, adjustments. I mean, you can see this just auto adjust. It gets you there, gets you a long way there, doesn't it? You know, so that's great. And then you just like mask that off. Can we mask it? Empty adjustment layer, mask and layers, background people, my subject. What does that do? It's interesting. You've got these masking tools. Layer, I don't want layer. Mask. I haven't used this for a while, as you can tell. Anyway, in here's masking. Let's do that too. Layers, mask, subject mask, a bit of that one. Clear mask. Let's put a mask on. That one. Ah, there we go. There's a bit of a mask going on. Easy peasy. Just drop that on. Hopefully I can now adjust that separately, then really easily, separately the next layer. Yeah, look, so hand masking is dead simple to do that. So you can get in there. I mean, that doesn't all right, but I mean you could then step down to the image layer, drop the exposure back, pull it up. Yeah, so really simple. Layer tools. Last one, there's a cat. Now this is the massive image. You can see what auto does. Adjustments, auto adjust. Yeah, it's got the cat back, and it's also put the black because it's so. I mean, it's so underexposed. But then obviously again, we just select our cat here. I'm going to do that. We're going to grab him, her. Actually, it's a her. Grab that, And then I could probably boost the exposure a bit on that one as well. There we go. And then a bit of sharpen that cat up. Bit of noise reduction. Is there any noise? Find that cat's eye. Right, look at that. It's pretty much, it's quite flat. Let's get a bit of sharpening on it. Not much. The one here I think would be clarity, but that's a story in its own might be a clarity. Where is it? Tether. It's difficult to move around. Okay. So let's just, there was down there clarity. Natural, clarity and structure. Bit of clarity. There you are. Yeah, so this is basically a medium format image. And that's it, that's Capture One. I mean, there's so much more in here, but you see how quick and easy I can process photos. And once you've done a style, you can match styles from photo to photo using the AI. Very, very clever. So yeah, and it's got amazing color fidelity with the images you can produce from it. Now, what we're going to do now, we'll jump into Lightroom and we'll have a look at that. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom. Every time I've been trying to do this as a demo, it's just let me down. So let's try this again. So the photos are in here and they appear, and I'm not applying anything. So this is the main photo, and then I'm going to import them. Where do I want to import them to? Add them without moving. Move. I'm going to move them, see if that does anything different. So I'm going to move them into, do I want to move them over there? Let's just do it normally. Add. Let's try that. See if it does it, because it wasn't generating the thumbnails. Yeah, it's doing it. Okay. So there we go. They're in. Every time I did this before, just now, they just grayed out. Anyway, so there's those photos again. So let's just bring up this one. Now in library, obviously it's library mode, and over you go to develop, and then this is where all the tools drop in. So you've got camera profiling, tone, presence, linear, all sorts of stuff. So let's straighten that. Now this has got like auto leveling. There we go, really easy. And then you can do what you like in here. You can give it different presets. You can go for a different camera. Let's see what camera we've got in here. Browse. You can find your own camera profile somewhere. He says camera matching. There we are. DX2 mode landscape. So let's give it that. And there you go. So you've got tons of, very, very quick. And then over the right hand side, you've got all their presets. Some of them are AI. So let's do summer, autumn. Let's do autumn as a preset, and it'll apply any settings I've done over there. And that's horrendous. Yeah, that's a bit much. So on Control Z, undo autumn preset. Anyway, so you've got tons of styles and stuff like quick fixes to do stuff really quickly. All the color creative and stuff like that. So yeah, so let's just go back. Let's have a look at our guy. So got it. So yeah, so he's coming pretty good. He's just coming straight away, unless I've done something there. Let's have a look. Did I denoise this? Sharpening radius. So not too bad. There you go. So that was a horrendous dark photo. Let's have a look at our girl. Now this is going to cause it grief, isn't it? Whether we need to have a look at this. Let's go to the temperature. Let's get that all the way down. 10. Or see what we can do. Yeah, I mean, auto. Who knows? I mean, you could probably adaptive portrait. Let's see what enhanced portrait. Let's see if enhanced portrait. Let's see what this does. Well, it's made the teeth white. Glamour photo. No, can we undo that one? Undo glamour. It's interesting, isn't it? See if you can actually use this to get rid of that horrendous effect. Adaptive filter, what else we've got in there? Does it show it's doing little bits over the top of it? Anyway, yeah, that's a tricky one. Then we've got the food. Now this has actually got built-in food presets, isn't it, I think? Adaptive subject. Let's do pop. There we go, it's not quite right, is it? Let's give it the right camera profile. Oh, that's a Pentax. So, browse. Camera matching, where are you? Camera matching, bright. Not really done much. And then you can hear the computers ramping up. Hang on, subject food. I mean, this is just too easy, isn't it? Oh my God. So yeah, so you've got all that. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Let's do neutral, close it, auto. That's a good attempt at it. But again, where's masking? See, I can just jump in here with a mask, reflection removal. Oh my God, extra toys. Don't want that. Don't want that. Got it. Do the mask mode. Generative AI. Remove. Plaster. Heal. Mask. That must be mask. New mask. Brush. There we go. There's a mask. And then, wow, that's done that without me asking. Okay, and then the last one's our cat, and this is the big RAF image from our GFX 100S. And let's just see how quickly we can do it. Subject, pick the cat, change the exposure. Cat's done. All about that edge on there. There's a bit of a weird edge. Hang on, how can you do that? Feather the edge? Can you feather the edge? There's a bit of a strange, hang on, let's get down. Why do you have to do it again to this? Bit of a strange edge there. Sort of done it, but the edge is not quite right. Reset. That mask. It's not quite right. Clarity. Can't wheel in on the thing. You have to control zoom. It's horrible. It's like Photoshop. How do you move it around as well? Where's the click? That's not very intuitive. Well, it's not. It probably is, but I just don't know how to do that. Do I have to go like that? It's like Photoshop. Do I have to go? Well, I can't be bothered. Anyway, as you can see, there's all those basic tools you can play, but it's very, look at the way I'm doing this. It's very quick. That's the main thing. So let's go to map. It tells me when the photo, where the photo was taken. It's got next, close. So it gives you all the stuff. Book, you can create books, slideshows, print, and web. Print. Printing for Lightroom. I mean, it's all spoon feeding, isn't it? It's even laid the cat out properly. So, yeah, and then there's a cloud thing, obviously to send it up to the cloud, create a web gallery. See, this is the other thing as well. You need to be able to create stuff to give to clients. You need to be able to create like contact sheets. Back in the day, we'd have contact sheets. We'd print off contact sheets and we'd print off our, you know, send them, you'd go through and then you'd mark them out with your loop and you'd find out, you know, which photo you wanted to get scanned up bigger. But nowadays, you know, it's all like this. You print your contact sheets out, send them to the client, do this kind of stuff, or put them online. I know that Capture One's got a really good system where you can put the contact sheets up online and the client could go and say, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. I mean, I did a shoot last year where we had like 200 photos and it was kickboxing or something. And they were very particular with the positioning of the feet and stuff. So we had to send them tons and they just went through and went that one, that one, that one, that one. But that was great because they sent them back and then we could batch process them and then it was done. So yeah, so this is very much about speed, this one. It's got tons of quick and handy stuff that you can use. So there you go. And it was very quick. I mean, this is on a Mac M3 Max. Yeah. So it's 32 gig of RAM, 32 gig GPU, and it's an M3 Max chip. So anyway, so there you go. That's Lightroom. Okay, so there you go. So a very quick look through what you're leaving behind when you come over to Linux to do your photo work. Capture One, like professional choice for studio shoots, stuff like that, because of its tethering capability. Now that plays a big part for professionals. If it doesn't have tethering capability for studio shoots, forget it. And then you've got Lightroom, which is quick, AI, toys, stuff like that. You know, you can get it out the door really quick, turn it around. They both have batch processing and they both have ways to put the galleries up online and distribute them. So that's what you're up against. That's what's got to be transported over to Linux. So yeah, so what we do now, we're going to jump over to Omarchy. I'm going to show you a couple of the choices you've got. Have a look through them. Bring in the same photos and see how that works. Now, the machine I'm using is a Ryzen 9. It's quite powerful. 16 cores, 32 threads, and it's got a 16 gig 5060 Ti. And, you know, obviously with M1s and Macs rather, you know, they are very optimized for the graphics. Now, will that translate to Linux? So let's have a look. Okay, so here we are in Omarchy, and what we're going to do now, we're going to look at, there's only, I think, only a couple of competitors to do this for, you know, photography, and it's RawTherapee. There is a branch called Art, which I haven't looked at, but the main one is Darktable. I'll explain that in a second. Anyway, so we need to get them on the system. So first of all, we just install them. So install packages, and let's just do Darktable tab, and then RawTherapee tab, and in they go. And we'll do RawTherapee first of all. We'll just load that up. Done. Okay, so let me find those photos. That'll be on the other drive. So let me find the photos for you. So that one, and the photos are on here somewhere. Photos, and it's those. Copy, and let's put them in documents. Paste. Let's just do documents for now. Okay, let's try RawTherapee first of all. Now, the problem with RawTherapee, it doesn't do tether. So from the get-go, it's on its back foot. It's how it's come. RawTherapee release notes over there. Don't need that. So let's have a look in documents. And there's our pictures. Great. So do we need to import them? A little bit difficult. Or do we just need to open them? Do we work in situ? You see, straight off the bat, it's sort of like file browser, queue, editor. It's sort of got similar stuff. Queue obviously is export, editor, file browser. Okay, let's get that first one in. Okay, there it is. So over on the right hand side, I've got all my controls. So let's have a quick look. Expose the different tabs for doing different bits. And the problem you're going to get here straight off the bat is they're using wording that you wouldn't be used to. So when you bounce between Capture One and Adobe Lightroom, the wording and phrasing they use to talk about certain things, like clarity is clarity, you know, they use very, very similar words. In this, I have noticed that they use their own sort of languaging. So anyway, so let's look. And apparently the stack works up by lab adjustments. I like lab. Lab's great. So I use lab in color creation in DaVinci Resolve a lot. But let's just straighten this photo. How easy is it for me to straighten this photograph? Selective editing. Where is it? You see, even the icons don't really tell me what I'm supposed to be doing here. Here we are. So plus or minus exposure, tone mapping, shadow, equalize. Where are we going? So spot removal, local edges, noise reduction, it sort of makes sense. That one, Return X, selective editing. What's that all about? Nope. Crop, resizing and framing. Crop, I don't want to crop. Lens and geometry, rotate. Here we go. Auto crop, select a straight line. Or hopefully you'll be able to put something on the screen to show you what to do. I'm sure I'm missing something here. Okay, but that's straight now. That's fine. Now, I mean, straight off the bat, it's actually debayed it. It doesn't look that bad. So that's quite a good thing. So you could go in here. You can obviously play the exposure with a lot of information. Exposure compensation. And then you can go through dynamic range compression. I know about that. Amount. Wouldn't really apply to that. It's not HDR. Color appearance and lighting. Yeah, I mean, there's a learning curve. That's all I'm going to say with this. It looks like it can do the job. Let's give it the guy. Double click. Okay, that sort of brought it in, and it's much better. It's not black, But I mean, how on earth do I get in? Let's go back to that one. Local and contrast, plus and minus, exposure, auto levels. Now that's massively noisy, but it has brought it back. So it's given it, let's give it down a bit. Now let's see how the noise reduction works, because that's the key part. Is where is that? Now this is a bit weird. I've got a mouse scroll and it scrolls down. I did this on one of the other ones. When I played with this before, if you scroll it and you accidentally over one of the graphs, it can cause an issue. So let's have a look back through it. And one of these was noise reduction. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I saw noise reduction. I think you have to, it's one of these learning things, isn't it? You really have to start to look through this. It seems quite capable. Dark frame. So that to do with astro files. Yes. Exposure. Let's get rid of that one. Where was noise reduction? Noise reduction. There it is. Okay. Let's see how it copes with this. Now, straight off the bat, you're presented with options you just wouldn't understand. Lab color. You know, lab's brilliant and you should learn about lab. It's like a phenomenal thing to work with and brilliant in Photoshop. I've used it for years. But if you're like coming from the world of those two programs, you probably wouldn't even seen the word before, and you wouldn't have even known it. If you've done it in Photoshop, you'd know it. But basically, it's like it's luminance, and it's basically R and G and B and R and B and B and G. It's just a different way of showing color, like RGB. But it's very useful for color grading. So hang on, let's have a look at what we're going to do then. So I've got all this noise. Oh, that zooms. That's okay. A lot of pixelated noise there, but how do I get rid of it? Luminance. It's not doing anything. Detail recovery. Automatic global method. Now, if anybody in the comments says, oh, you need to do this, why isn't it telling me? Okay, why isn't it telling me now? So don't say you should look into this. It should have a slider that says reduce noise, and then you work out. You get cleverer with the interface, don't you? It says reduce noise if you want advanced capabilities. So am I missing something here? Color space lab mode, aggressive. This is ridiculous. I'm sure this is immensely powerful, but that is just like the dumbest way I've ever seen of an implementation for a noise reduction. Luminance only, chroma owner. What are we doing? I still can't see it moving. So yeah, so that's a fail. That's annoying, isn't it? I bet it's there, but it's just not made obvious for you. I mean, but it's free, so you can't. There's a bit where you have to step back. It is free. But if they want people to adopt it, if you want people to come over to Linux and use these things, I mean, I think RawTherapee exists for a Mac as well. You just need to like lead people through it. So, okay, let's do our giant cat. It's taken a while to load. Here we go. It's getting it. It's doing it. Now that's brought it in and it's not too bad. I mean, I need to now do a mask. So how do we do masks? How do we do a mask? Where's masking? Is masking over there? Where's masking? You see, now what type of masking do I need? Do I need to do? Not very obvious, is it? Got lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. Can't see how to do a mask. Okay. Can't go on that forever. Let's, yeah, all right. So I can't see masking. Very obviously. Selective edits, add. What does that mean? Oh, there we go. Okay. Got any Bezier type stuff? I mean, I've got to block a big domey thing. It's not very intuitive though, is it? So what happens in there then? What happens in there? Show just no sense. Right. Now, if I hit this, is it gone? Am I masking? I'm not sure what that's done. So, okay. Auto match tone curve. Auto levels. Yeah, there's a lot of language in here that if you come across, you wouldn't get. Impending opposed. I mean, I'm sure color science. I'm sure colour science across the board is, I mean, I've worked in colour for years. Colour is pretty like standard. You know, you've got like sharpening, this, that, and these things. I mean, a lot of this makes sort of sense, dynamic range compression, but there's like a standardization. If I go into a DaVinci Resolve, for example, and I look at the colour tools, the wording of the color tools makes sense, or you give it a word name. I mean, it's just some of the stuff in here is just like a meridian form. I don't know what that is. Haze remover, that's fair enough. Contrast by detail level. Yeah, okay, let's have a look at our girl. Let's see if we can do anything with that. Double click. Yeah, it's not liking that, is it? Pentax K1. Let's see if there's anything that can be done. Anything. Auto levels. Okay, I mean, this is going to kill it, isn't it? Somewhere in here, there'll be some controls to do something. Where's the color controls? Gamut compression by channel mixer. Red. Don't any of that, do we? This is annoying because it's not reacting. And why isn't it reacting? Someone's going to write in the comment, you're doing it wrong. No, it should really be easy. It should be so simple. So I don't know. So I'll give it up with that. That's not brilliantly intuitive. I'm sure it's a fantastic tool, but I'm not really sure about that. Anyway, okay, so let's try Darktable. I've got a lot of, let's just try that, Darktable. Okay, far out. Application not responding, not a good sign. OpenCL. Okay, great. Building OpenCL. So what have we got? Okay, let's just, before we go any further, let's just make sure we've got acceleration, processing, OpenCL activated by default, OpenCL scheduling support, great. Very fast GPU, I have got a very fast GPU. Let's get rid of that then. Okay, that's the case editor. Okay, Darktable. So let's have a look what we've got here. We've got Lighttable. If you don't know what Lighttable is, back in the day, you'd put your negatives on a Lighttable and you could look through with a loop, and you would look, I used to use a 50mm lens, and you'd look through and basically your negs, and you could look at your negs on a Lighttable, which is what this is trying to say. And then the darkroom, it's reversed. It's sort of like, obviously, the darkroom you develop, Lighttable would be looking at them. I don't know, it's a bit the other way around. Anyway, so this is Darktable. Right, import. Let's add to library. And I've got it in Home, Documents, and that's those images. Okay, add to library. There they are. Okay, so now I've got them in the library element. That looks quite familiar, doesn't it? Darkroom. Or do I have to double click to get in? Yay. Okay. And history, duplicate manager, color picker, tagging, image information, GFX 100S, and it's 11,000 pixels. So it's a big old image, that one. Masking manager, or like the sound of that immediately. Storage options. Okay. And then over here, what we've got, let's do that first one. Local contrast, sigmoid. It's this one, watch. Yeah, if you scroll the wheel, it's moving up and down. Well, you want to be on that. Okay, exposure. How do we get that cat out of that picture? Now this is the one that works upwards, where you go from the bottom up with the stack. Watermark, RGB, lens correction. It's got tons of stuff. I suppose the dot means, does the dot mean it's that means it's active? Don't know. Okay, so I'm going to have a bit of a play in here, aren't I? Rotation. That's a bit of a weird stack. Color output, sigmoid, color calibration, input, demosaicing. At least it's got rollover information. Raw point. What do I want? Exposure. Scene referred. Oh, blimey, that's DaVinci Resolve time. Color spaces, color balance, primaries, RGBs. Where's exposure? Where's the masks? So what am I looking for in here? Exposure. Scene referred. Now, can I do a mask? Parametric mask, draw mask. Let me draw a mask. Draw mask. Oh, there it is. Look, that one. See what that does. Oh, we have liftoff. We have a mask. Now, how do we get out of a mask? Right click. That's how we get out of a mask. All right, now, can I expose that area? Yay. Okay, that's a horrendous edge on the mask. Mask refinement, feather radius. Okay. Now, how does this work? Do I need to do another layer? Multiple instances, new instance. Okay, and let's do exposure. What's that going to do? The top or the bottom? That's doing all of it. So how do I get... So, okay, there's a stacking thing going on there then. But that's doable. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. I picked that up quite quickly. Okay, let's have a look at our beach now. Obviously got search. This search thing's good. So rotate. Rotate pixels. Rotate. Orientation auto. Can you do that? Orientation auto. Auto. Flip vertically. Show guides like that. Rotation perspective. Automatic cropping, largest area. Manual perspective. I just want to turn it around, thanks. And it's doing it. There it is. Okay. I'll live with that. Now, we're not really doing any colour grading here, though, are we? We're just sort of trying to work out how the picture works. But it's doing it. I could see that I could do this. Colour balance RGB. What do we got there? Shift, hue. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look at Kevin. Kevin's coming now. Let's give Kevin some brightness and let's have a go with where are we? Exposure again. Exposure. Let's bring up the exposure. Let's see the noise levels we get. Now, let's see how we get with the noise reduction. You can see that. Does that zoom in? Oh, that's nice. That's better. Now let's go for noise reduction. I like the way that this has got noise. Diffusion sharp, astral face noise. Raw denoise. What have we got there then? Oh my God. It's pretty funky. Oh, it's too much. Noise threshold. All right, let's get right in there. Now, obviously, you've got really fine control over this. Or RGB, so you can just pick out the colour. Denoise profiled. Surface blur, sharpen and diffusion. Raw denoise. Okay, this is pretty cool because I never normally have that much control over. Well, you can, but I mean, put the noise threshold down. Fine, noisy. Here we go. That's the end we want to be at. Can you do right down that end? I think you could probably get quite a useful result out of this. I mean, that's not, but it's way blurry. But anyway, let's just have a look at our girl. Oh my God. Now, here she is. What can we do with this? Color output mode. Let's do, what do we want? Temperature. Temp. White balance. Now this is a calibration thing, isn't it? So let's just, it's not doing much. Yes. Luminant, what the hell, whatever, what's that about? What's that about? Ash shot in camera, let's do that. White balance success extracted from raw. No, it wasn't. That's totally wrong. How do we get that? Area color map, white balance. Can I do that one? Color balance, well, you didn't do it right the first time. That's why I'm putting it on twice, because the other one's not much use. Tint. Hey, better. It's a bit all over the shop. I think if I spent time with that, I could get that nailed. Let's look at the food shop. All right then. That doesn't look very nice, does it? It's very unattractive smoked salmon. So let's just do color. Color equalizer. What's that? Hue, saturation, brightness. I think I did the food shot in the other ones. Oh, look, I can make the green. I can make Yeah, I mean, the controls in there, it's one of these things where you're going to have to learn this. I think a lot of the tools are in here. Color picker. A lot of the tools are in here. And it is responding pretty much like, speed-wise, Spine, OpenCL, accelerated by the graphics card. It's doing its thing. So, I mean, hang on, let's just have a look at that big image again. This is the huge one. This is a 100 meg image. That's fine. Let's just do something to it, though. I don't know. So I don't know what it'd be like processing. But, I mean, this looks like, I mean, you've got all the toys up here as well. So I forgot about this in the library. You've got all these bits where you can do that. And then, yeah, that's come out too. That's not too bad, is it? Straight off the bat, that sort of worked itself out a bit. Local contrast. Ooh. Clarity, basically. Highlights, shadows. Yeah, okay. All right, I could live with that. So, okay, let's come out of that. Back to me. Back to me. Let's go. Okay, so I think the choice is, if you are coming over from Linux from Windows or Mac and you're Lightroom or Capture One user, I think Darktable is your only option. Some people make a play about this because, I mean, RawTherapee made no sense. Literally makes no sense to me. And I've done this I've done this for years. And looking at it, it's like trying to learn a new language. And I don't need to do that. I want to do my job. So, I mean, it's like sort of, I want to take a photo, I want to get in, and I want to tweak it, and I want to make it look good. I'm not sure I mean, Darktable probably could work at professional level. I don't know about the tethering, but apparently it does do the tethering. I think it would be a bit of a learning curve, but I think probably, because it's open source, after learning it, and I think working out with the tethering, you could probably use that professionally, probably, he says. I mean, it looks like it's got it all in there. I mean, you don't get the AI toys, okay? That's over. But you didn't have them before. I mean, 3 years ago, we weren't doing anything with AI, were we? But we were still managing to make amazing photography with much, without having to click. I mean, a lot of it's time saving. It depends on how much control you want to have. Now, I'm going to show you one last thing. If you really, don't want to use those apps, and you're not doing it professionally, but maybe you are, but you just want the maximum control you can have over an image. And basically, you have a lot of time on your hands, because I gave up. What happened with me was I gave up sort of using all of them, because I started to use DaVinci Resolve to do the color grading. Now, it can take a lot of formats in, and you can also stills, and you can also convert your CR2s and your other files into DNGs, which will be ingested into Resolve. So I use Resolve for a lot of it now. I mean, the times I do shoots, I mean, I'll get a few images that, say 5 or 6, and I will use something like, I'll just go through them, pick out the ones I'm going to use, bring the DNGs in here, because you want to pick them out as you're going through them like that, and then I'll bring 5 in and just work on them quickly in Resolve, and then get them out the other side, and they come out as JPEGs. You have to deliver them as JPEGs. So that's it. So let's just jump back into this. I'll fire up Resolve, and I'll just show you what you can do with it very, very quickly, because I mean, I ramble on about Resolve a lot. So let's just go back to 2, Shift D, bring up Resolve. Here's a new version. I've got it. Don't tell me about it. Yeah. Okay. So new project, create, and then I'll go into videos. I've put them in there. Photos. Here they are. They're all DNGs. Now, the other one that's missing is the GFX cat, because that's a RAW file and it can't be brought in. So what you can do, you can convert the RAW to a DNG and bring it in. So let's just work with what we've got here. Let's put those in there. And then all you can do is, I don't know, let's pick Kevin, create new timeline. And when you do this, because obviously you can be gigantic images. As you saw, the GFX image was 11,000 pixels, but you could just make the pixels the size that you want. You just need to know what the size of the image is. So if I go on there, that DNG is 3008 by 2000. So I could just do a custom timeline that matches the image of 3008 times 2000. And obviously you're shooting on the same camera, the same frames. The only thing you've got to be careful is if you're shooting them consecutively, you'll end up with an image stream, which you don't want. Anyway, so let's do the timeline, and let's do color, which is very important. Timeline color space, you want DaVinci Wide Gamut, which is a gigantic color space that we can play in. DaVinci Wide Gamut. Output will go to sRGB because that's what photos go out as. They don't go out as 709. Create. And now we've got our timeline. We can go in there. It's mapped out. Go to color. And then we've got all the toys. All the toys you could ever wish to do color with. So let's get in and have a look at Kevin. So down over here, you can just obey your raw. Color space, we'll do Blackmagic Design. Gives us a bigger color space. And then we can just start like you would normally grading anything in here. So lift gamma gain, he says, if his lift gamma gain's there. So just pull that signal out and pull that down. Oh, down. There you go, all the way to the bottom. Let's get the gamma out of it. And let's put that, pull you up as much as we can. Want to put the lift back on the bottom. It's too dark. Oh, there you go. So that's the first bit. Let's just get them exposed. Add a bit of colour in. A bit more colour into that spatial noise reduction. Let's get right down on it. Just bring up the luma till the noise goes. See how soft he is. New node. Do a lab node. Love a lab node. Channels. Color space. Lab. Right channel. And then we're going to switch off channel 1 and just use channel 2 and 3. And then scrunch in some more color into that. A little bit more. And then we'll go to G. Balance them out. And then you can do your standard noise reduction stuff. I mean, I normally use a lab node for noise reduction, but there you go. So let's just grab another one quick. And then obviously exporting, you can export it as a TIFF file. Let's do our, I wonder what happened with the girl. Create a new timeline, use selected clip. How big is she? Let's just do this. That is 7,000 by, so create a new timeline, use selected clip. Format. Pick that, and then custom. One it's over here. The color information is over in the corner of the screen. 7306 4912. Output. Color. I need to set this up properly. Do color science because you just. I mean, I shouldn't have to do this every time. Color science, then sRGB. There you go. So if you've got 5 images to process or 20 images to process, you can sort of bang this through this pretty quickly. Create. See over here, so I'm trying to show you. This is where the image details are. Let's go on the timeline. There she is. Look at that. That noise. And let's just switch that to project clip, color space, Blackmagic Design. And that's got a lot of red in the red channel, as you can see there. So what will we do with this? Let's just have a play with the color and the temperature. Sort of. It's got a bit bitty, isn't it? It's not liking it. Oh no, it's just because it's so close up. So what can we do there? Let's just do another node. And then let's just pull, can we push some more? What do we do here? Offset that red. Maybe bring a bit of blue into it. This is way too much red. Let's do another node. Saturation. Put a bit more colour back into it. It needs a bit of brightness, exposure. Bring that right up. It looks very bitty because I've got, if you zoom in, it clears up. But it needs a serious level of noise reduction on that. Tint. Let's just do some noise reduction because it's scaring me looking at it like that. Get in there. Now you've got like I don't know if the AI Ultra will break on here. I don't really play with it. It just gets rid of the noise. There's a lot of it. Let's try radius, medium, fast, enhanced. Yeah, there's a lot of noise in that. It's trying its hardest. But yeah, that's a job for another day. But again, you could play with it. Yeah, I think I pushed that too hard with the colours. But you could play with that one. So let's just have a look at the last one. What was the food? Let's do the food or the cameras. Okay. Yeah, no. I think that's enough on that. As you can see, I mean, you could play to your heart's content with it. Let's go back to this. And then back to me. So there, yeah, that was the last minute addition for you there. So you can do it in DaVinci Resolve if you really want to have a play with it. I mean, I use DaVinci Resolve for my job. So it's just easier for me to do stuff in there. But it's quite capable. It's not like, you know, for huge, I'd imagine, professional use, but it's just easier for me to do it. Anyway, so there you go. So after all that, that's the massive rundown of all your toys. I really do think if Darktable with a bit of development really could be a player, I don't think you're too far away. I think RawTherapee is much more of a unique thing for people doing certain things, but Darktable's really got it. I think with a bit more playing around, it's like Reaper, and you know, it's a really good sequencer or music package, and it's got a similar look to it. But I think that a bit more intuitive controls, a little bit of a playing, and they've really got something there. So it's not that far away. I don't, you know, there's none of the AI stuff. There are other packages. There's something called Digicam or something. I didn't look at that, but I think you know, Darktable, if you're coming over, play with Darktable. You put Darktable on your Mac or your PC now and get used to it. And then when you finally, you know, make the jump to hyperspace and come over to Linux, then you can actually, you know, you've got a head start on what you're doing. Anyway, I hope that very long video has been useful, and I hope you gained some information. If you've got loads of questions or rants or stuff, please stick in the comments, and as ever, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.